Good morning. Well, as you can tell, I'm not at home. We are on a really cool trip for my birthday weekend to Eastern Oregon, which sounds like, why would you want to go there? Well, it's because my family came over on the Oregon Trail and their homestead is about a 30-minute drive away. We were there last night late. We found it and we're gonna go back again this morning and we're gonna take you with us, and my parents are gonna be there, and my mom is gonna tell you all about it because this is our history. And look at this view though. Like, can you even? Because I can't. It's gorgeous. I'm gonna snap some pics. And I also wanted to thank you because this morning we woke up to a big milestone for our channel. It's small for some, but for us, it's huge. And we hit 100 subscribers this morning. It is October 8th, and so that's pretty special. So thank you guys for coming along. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in a bit at the homestead. Mama! We're off to find the homestead. We already found it. Back road. Woohoo! Little motorcycle. Oh yeah.
I shone bright, then my journey was over. What I sought when I
oh my gosh, look at how gorgeous this is.
back where I
This is what I imagined.
no matter the
This is
rain,
what we walked in.
no matter the storm,
You've already been here?
I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Leave open the gate. Don't turn off the light. I'm coming home. Well, I scratched in the dirt for a while. I gained all that I knew for a price. In the end, what I found was nowhere near as nice. No matter the rain, no matter the storm, I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Leave open the gate. Don't turn off the light. I'm coming home. Though I fought with my claws and teeth, though I elbowed my way to a seat, there'd be no kind of peace like you beside me. No matter the rain, no matter the storm, I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Open the gate, don't turn off the light. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Nothing's as it seems in the photo. Nothing is as sweet going solo.
So here we are at the family homestead. Late 70s, early 1880s.
How'd they get here?
By wagon train. Well, they got here from the valley with not a wagon train, but they brought their wagons back here. Daniel Boone Matheny, this was his homestead. He came over on the Oregon Trail in 1843 with the first wagon train that came. And they settled in, at first, the area that is now Portland. In fact, his father, Daniel Boone Matheny I, was, his first homestead was right where downtown Portland is now. He chopped down the first tree to make Stumptown. But his family had such a hard time with the rain, and they didn't have any place to live, and he was going to build a cabin. But then he found 2 cabins down across from the Wallowa Mt mission, and he bought it on the west side. He bought the cabins there and the land there and the ferry there that was there, and that was where they lived. Daniel was 14 when he came over on the Oregon Trail, and he lived in the Wallowa Mt Valley for about 35 years. And he was married, had children. His wife died. That would be my granny. And then he married her sister and came out here to Homestead. He thought the valley was getting way too crowded. So this is where he came in the late 1870s. And this is the land he had. And it is beautiful. And the foothills of Elk Mountain. And what you see before you is the family graveyard.
Visiting the homestead. We still have a lot of history to learn. So originally they had like the homesteaders deal where you made a homestead, you grew a certain amount of crops, and you got the government came and checked so you could keep the land. That was the agreement of getting free land, was the homesteaders thing. So they did that. So now we're gonna head into a little town over here called Joseph and explore by the Wallowa Mountains and have some fun. I had to come into this garden because I have to tell a story. We just got back from our trip from Eastern Oregon. It was a family trip with my parents and us, not our whole family, to find out some history of my mom's biological father. And the story gets pretty cool because I don't know how to describe it. When you finally find a place, I moved around so much growing up that when you find a place that your family actually settled in, it feels secure. I don't know if that makes any sense. So we went to this little area over by the Wallowa Mountains, which I'm a mountain girl, I'm a northern girl. Give me all the snow, give me all the mountains. I could live without the beach, but I cannot live without the mountains. And I do live in the mountains. We live in the Cascade Mountains. But these are my deepest roots. My family came over, which on the video, either in this video or the one before, my mom kind of tells you a bit of the story. My great grandfather, his name was Daniel Boone Matheny. He lived in Virginia and in Maryland and hated slavery so much that he left the South. Came over, brought him and his wife. He had 7 children, 4 boys, 3 girls, one of which is my great grandfather. I don't know. Okay, after that one. Okay. Also named Daniel Boone Matheny, but Jr. It's just like a crazy story. And I realized people have asked me, well, where did gardening come from? It has to be in your blood somewhere. I'm like, not that I know of. I always had maybe grandparents that grew small gardens, but nobody that I knew of has ever had a passion like I do about it. I just never knew where it came from till today. October 9th, 2020, on our way back from exploring our family's homestead. Not original homestead in Oregon, but Daniel Boone Matheny Jr.'s homestead. We read a book. You can't really order this book. I ordered the last one off Amazon, but it's called Into the Eye of the Setting Sun. And it's a story told from Charlotte Matheny, which is one of the 7 children. It's a story told from her point of view when she was in her 80s, I do believe, but she's telling the story of coming over on the Oregon Trail when she was 5. And her mother, Mary, so my great grandmother, could be 4 greats, his name was Mary. And Mary, once they left Virginia and Maryland, they were in Missouri, and they were there for a bit. She had a garden, she grew her own food, and it was a fall when they were going on the Oregon Trail. She saved thousands and thousands of seeds. They thought she was so funny. She packed them on the horn of her saddle all the way across the Oregon Trail. She packed her seed collection all the way on a horse saddle horn across the Oregon Trail, the whole entire trail. It took them 6 months to get to Oregon from Missouri. They were hungry, and sometimes she broke into it a couple times, maybe once or twice, to get peas to feed the family pea soup. Then they get to Oregon. They get there and it's November. It's winter in Portland. If you know from Oregon or know anything about it, it rains a lot. It gets bitter cold. There was hardly any hunting. They had money. They weren't poor, but there was no place to buy food. There was no stores. There wasn't anything. But there was a man that had pity on them and let them borrow enough wheat. So they had boiled wheat for every meal for 6 months. The springtime came. Imagine that. You come over on the Oregon Trail. It takes you 6 months. Another 6 months, you live in a tiny cabin with a family of 9, and you eat boiled wheat for every single meal for 6 months. Imagine that. By the time spring comes, and spring in the valley in Oregon is, it's the best. If they didn't get so much rain, we'd live there too. Her husband, Daniel, my great-great-great-grandfather, plowed a little garden for her, and she planted those seeds. And her family, for the first time since coming on the Oregon Trail a year later, was able to eat fresh produce. Not only did she have plenty of seeds for herself and her beautiful flower garden, she brought all her old-fashioned flower seeds all the way over from the East Coast to the West Coast. But she had enough to give to the other settlers, and they had gardens. Which it just blows my mind. It did something to me. These people, I don't know them. I've never known about them, and the way my mother was raised, she didn't even know about this side of the family until she was older in life. Older in life makes it seem like she was a little old lady when she found out, but she wasn't. She was teenager, young adult. For me, now that today is the last day I'm 30 years old, I find out about Mary, my great-great-great-grandmother, who carried seeds all the way on the Oregon Trail and gave her family fresh produce for the first time in over a year. Makes it feel like this was predestined. This garden, this love, they hauled their dairy cow over on the Oregon Trail. She had a prized churn in her wagon that was either copper or brass, and she polished it every day. And she would churn and churn and churn, and she hauled it with her all the way over there and made her family fresh butter from the dairy cow. So this whole homestead thing didn't come by accident for me. It's literally in my blood. I just think it's pretty cool. And also, if you want to read about it yourself, you can find it on, I found it on a few other sources. I'll try and link a few below. I bought the one on Amazon. There's a museum in Oregon that carries it. And the book is called Into the Setting Sun. And that is what my great-great-grandfather would say. We're going into the eye of the setting sun. That's what he said all the way over on the Oregon Trail to his family. So here I am, hundreds of years later, living the life they lived in the eye of the setting sun.